everybody, welcome to this class. This is the third lesson of the Learn Dutch series. In this lesson we're going to learn about the personal pronouns, those in the subject and those in the object form. First you have to know what personal pronouns are and how we group them. We usually make the distinction between singular and plural pronouns. Singular personal pronouns in English are I, you, he, she, it. These personal pronouns can be divided into three groups, and this is how the pronouns are divided. First person singular, I. Second person singular, you. Third person singular, he, she, it. We know a similar system for the plural personal pronouns. First person plural, we. Second person plural, you. Third person plural, they. Now you know how the system works. It works this way for all pronouns, by the way. Of course we know the same system in Dutch, though with the Dutch personal pronouns of course. Well, let's take a look at the personal pronouns in the subject form. I can be translated as ik. You can be translated as jij, je or u. He, she, it can be translated as hij, zij, ze, het, u. We can be translated as wij, we. You can be translated as jullie, u. They can be translated as zij, ze. Now let's take a look at the object forms. Me can be translated as mij, me. You can be translated as je, jou, u. Him, her, it can be translated as hem, haar, het, u. Us can be translated as ons. You can be translated as jullie. Them can be translated as hen, hun. Don't worry. Yes, I know that were a lot of personal pronouns, but I can reassure you. In Dutch we make a distinction between stressed and unstressed pronouns. Let's take a look back at the personal pronouns in the subject form. Now you see that some of those personal pronouns are marked with a red circle. Je, ze, we, ze. Je can be used instead of jij. Ze can be used instead of zij. We can be used instead of wij. And ze, plural, can be used instead of zij, also plural. The object forms are actually the same. Me and je. Me can be used instead of mij, and je is somehow special. It can be used instead of jou. Unfortunately, there are no clear rules for the use of the unstressed personal pronouns. For someone who is learning Dutch, it is often difficult to determine when a pronoun needs to be stressed. This skill can only be acquired by experience. It may be helpful to know that unstressed pronouns are more commonly used than stressed pronouns. And another mnemonic device might be the following. If you feel you have to stress a personal pronoun, you might think about this. If you can point at the person you're talking to or you're talking about, you can use the stressed personal pronoun. And even if you make a mistake, this is not a disaster. The Dutch will understand you and perhaps they will correct you, although it's considered as impolite to correct someone. On the other hand, don't be surprised if a Dutchman will start speaking in English to you. If he does, you probably made a little mistake. The Dutch will facilitate the conversation then, undoubtedly with the best intentions, by speaking in English. He's not aware then of the fact you have to practice your skills in order to learn Dutch. Feel free to say this and to continue in Dutch. Fortunately, many Dutch will understand this and think it's cool you want to learn Dutch. Others will think you're crazy. You probably also noticed in the list of personal pronouns the pronoun u. U is like vous in French, sie in German, lei in Italian, or nin in Mandarin. Yes, it's the formal personal pronoun. U in Dutch is both singular and plural. Now we're going to practice with this knowledge, and you'll learn in this lesson your first Dutch verb and preposition. The verb is lopen, which means to walk, and the preposition is naar, which can be translated as to or towards. Well, let's take a look at the verb lopen conjugated in simple present. Ik loop, jij je u loopt, hij zij ze het u loopt. Wij we lopen, jullie u lopen, zij ze lopen. Like you can see, there are no major differences between the conjugations in number or person. This is why we can't omit personal pronouns like one can do in many Romance and Slavic languages. Remember the second lesson. The long vowel in an open syllable is always written with only one character. Due to the conjugations of the verb lopen, the conjugations of the singular person became closed single syllable verb conjugations. To conjugate a Dutch verb, we take the infinitive and remove the en suffix. That what is left is called the stem. Lopen without the en suffix becomes lop. Because the O in lopen is a long vowel in an open syllable, we have to write double O in a closed syllable. Because the stem of lopen became a single closed syllable, and we still want to keep that long and open vowel of lopen into the stem, we have to double the vowel. In that case, we have to write it with two identical characters, in this case a double O. Okay, let's use the preposition naar and an object form of the personal pronoun now. If you learn this, you can write your first Dutch sentences. Ik loop naar jou toe. I'm walking towards you. Jij loopt naar mij toe. You're walking towards me. Hij loopt naar haar toe. He's walking towards her. Wij lopen naar hen toe. We're walking towards them. Zij lopen naar ons toe. They're walking towards us. Jullie lopen naar hen toe. You're walking towards them. Ik loop naar hem toe. I'm walking towards him. You probably noticed that the subject forms of the personal pronouns were placed at the beginning of the sentence, and that the object forms were placed at the end of the sentence. In Dutch, the subject is often at the beginning of a sentence. The accusative or direct object is usually at the end of the sentence. The next time we'll learn about the possessive adjectives, the possessive pronouns, and we'll treat another verb. We'll also treat the conjugation of Dutch verbs. But this is for later. Yet you have a lot to learn with this lesson. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you will also attend my next classes.
We're